particularly we see stereotypes, repetitive messages, a lot of these bad versus good, deserving, undeserving kind of narratives produced in our media, particularly of Black communities, but as well as other brown, indigenous communities of color. So we're trying to not only give voice to those individuals in those communities, but also help media understand a little bit more of the context of what they're actually saying and how it influences public opinion, and how we can really give more of a complete story of maybe an incident of police brutality or another form of racial injustice or discrimination or oppressive practices in a larger sense. When we're thinking about the current political, social climate that we're in right now, particularly when we're focusing on the movement for Black Lives and we're focusing on, Black Lives Matter and the racial injustices around police brutality and violence against brown and Black bodies, I think the biggest thing that we tend to not necessarily really focus on, which is why the research that I do is very important, is we don't look at the historical or the long-lasting legacies of slavery or the civil rights movement. So through my research, I try to contextualize some of that. I try to bring in other interdisciplinary understandings besides just the media, because the media is, not only the record of that historical understanding, but it also generates the language and the understanding of how the public understands certain movements. I think the media in itself has been put to a higher standard to talk about these issues in a more complex way. And I think that complexity is really what is at the Narrative Justice Project, and even in my other research that I do, it is that very much that practical activism role that the journalism can play, being the watchdog, being the place where people can, be uplifted, can give voice.